Hey, this is C&D channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for UFC Fight Night 46, McGregor versus Brandao, which happens on July 19th. Overall, I actually like the main card. The top three fights: McCall, Pickett, Nelson, Cummings, McGregor, Brandao aren't too bad. Not too great as far as prospects go. I mean, you got Sampo versus Holohan, which looks pretty good. Seery actually had a really good fight against Pickett in his last outing. And Ilir Latifi could actually turn out to be something at light heavyweight. So, yeah, let's get started. On the main event, we have Conor McGregor versus Diego Brandao. Well, Brandao has an 18-9 record with 9 wins by KO or TKO, 5 wins by sub. He also has 5 losses by KO or TKO. He's 27 years old, training out of Jackson, Winklejohn. He is a brawler, something of a brawler. He's not like a technical striker by any means, but he is heavy-handed. But at the same time, it's that type of style, because he puts everything into his punches, that really saps his cardio as well. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills are very solid. His wrestling actually isn't too bad. If anything, probably strength. Honestly, he hits hard, but honestly, I think he has some pretty good ground skills actually. The thing that always kills Diego Brandao though is his cardio is terrible. I mean, he just has really bad cardio, especially after the first round. Usually you can kind of say like, oh, after the second round maybe. No, Brandao's like first round. He wants like Darren Elkins fight or like some of his other fights, and it's just like after the first round, the guy's just spent, you know. Conor McGregor, 14-2 record, 12 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. Has his 2 losses by submission. He's 25 years old on a 10-fight win streak. Trains out of SBG Ireland with the likes of Cathal, Pendred, Chris Fields from The Ultimate Fighter, and another guy is fighting here, Patrick Callahan, and Gunnar Nelson also trains there as well. Yeah, so he last fought on April 2013. He won against Max Holloway. He has a karate, kind of like a karate style stand up. You see him use like the front kick to the face. He's kind of unorthodox. He has good boxing though. He kind of fights with a hands down style. Knocked out Marcus Brimage. Really accurate with his striking. His grappling showed some improvement, especially in the third round against Holloway where he kept taking him down. The only thing really hurting McGregor stylistically is, well, the layoff, which I don't think it's that bad. It's maybe the ground. Diego might be better on the ground than McGregor. McGregor is also pretty high output. You know, he has a lot of volume in his striking. And Diego Brandao, I don't think handles that very well. There's a lot of hype behind Conor McGregor. Diego Brandao is capable, especially in the first round, to derail that hype train. But you know what? Stylistically, let's just say he didn't have hype. I still think McGregor still has a better, is still really good stylistically against Diego Brandao, especially in the stand-up and the cardio. Brandao's cardio is terrible. McGregor has shown some pretty good cardio. McGregor, like I said, his stand-up, high volume, kind of unorthodox. Diego Brandao, more of a brawler. So, you know, even without the hype, I mean, I'd probably favor Conor McGregor to beat Diego Brandao even without the hype. I'm not saying I'm picking Conor McGregor because of the hype either. It's just, I think he's a good style man. I think stylistically he should be able to beat Brandao. So I'll go Conor McGregor to win that one. Next fight after that, Zach Cummings beats Zach Cummings fights Gunnar Nelson. It's funny I said beats because I'm I'm going to pick Gunnar Nelson to win this one. Gunnar Nelson, undefeated, 12-0 record with 1 draw, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 8 wins by sub. 25 years old, trains out of SBG Ireland. Somewhere else too, I forgot where, besides SBG Ireland. There was things working against Gunnar Nelson. Another case of he's kind of hyped. He does have like a karate style stand-up as well, hands down style. But he is one of like the top Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners in the world. Just beat Omari Akhmedov by guillotine in his last fight. Looked really good there. Zach Cummings, a guy I always underestimate. 17-3 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 9 wins by sub, 29 years old, on a 4-fight win streak, and he is big for 170. Gunnar Nelson, small for 170. He's also Cummings has good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a good front headlock series actually. Stand-up's actually improving. In his last fight, he fought a Jiu-Jitsu guy. I forgot who he was. Forgot the name. Fought a Jiu-Jitsu guy, but did pretty well stand-up. And he's in a bad wrestler as well. So here's the thing, too. I'm going to pick Gunnar Nelson to win, but the thing is, that makes me hesitant here, is the size thing. Because Cummings, dude, this guy's fought at like 205 against like Emmanuel Newton in like MFC, if I'm not mistaken. You know? And Gunnar Nelson is small for 170. So, especially if you're grappling, size can definitely be a big factor. It's tougher to take guys down and whatnot. Gunnar Nelson, technical-wise, could definitely is definitely a difference maker. You know, I mean, I think Nelson's just much better on the ground than Cummings, so the size might not even be that much a factor. But can Gunnar Nelson get it to the ground? I don't know. In a stand-up, though, I'll favor Gunnar Nelson. Cummings is stand-up. It's still relatively average. So this is actually an interesting fight. There's a lot of hype behind Gunnar Nelson. So far, he's shown to be deserving of the hype, but Cummings is definitely a guy who can play spoiler for sure. Like I said, I'll go with Gunnar though. I think he's better in the stand-up. I think technically he's better. I think he's a better Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. I just don't know if he can get the fight to the ground or not. But otherwise, yeah, Gunnar Nelson for the win there. Next fight after that, McCall fights Brad Pickett. Brad Pickett has a 24-8 record, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 10 wins by sub. He also has 4 losses by submission. 35 years old, trains out of ATT. Pickett is something of a brawler as well. He has a really strong chin. I mean, this guy was getting hit clean by like Michael McDonald and still was in the fight. Eddie Wineland was hitting him clean, dropping him, I think. Still in the fight. Just really good chin on him. He's a surprisingly good wrestler. Pickett's strength really is in the ground. I mean, you even watch the Seery fight. Mainly, he won the fight because of his superior wrestling and his ability to stay on top. But Pickett's got some solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. He's a good scrambler. His stand-up defense is bad, though. Brad Pickett gets hit clean a lot. Luckily, he just has a really good chin. McCall, 12-4 record with 1 draw, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub. He's 30 years old, trains out of Team Oyama. He last fought in August 2013. This guy has had a lot of injuries, especially in his UFC career. He doesn't fight very often because he seems so injury prone. So that's definitely a factor to think about in this fight. He is a good wrestler with some pretty solid stand-up. When he fought, I believe he fought Ilir Santos in his last fight. and he was hitting like body head combos and whatnot. Looked really good. The problem with his stand-up though is he tends to brawl, especially when he gets hit. And Brad Pickett also loves to brawl. So this should be a fun fight in that sense. I think McCall might be the better wrestler though. And I gotta say this too. Be perfectly honest with you. I love Brad Pickett. He's actually one of my favorite fighters. But I kind of sense that he might be on a decline. You know, like I said, he didn't look great against Seery in his last fight. He's getting older. He's in his mid-30s. So I'm kind of putting that into the equation as well. But Ian McCall, like I said, very injury prone. And this is not the first time he's had a long layoff due to injury. So that's a factor as well. I'm leaning towards Ian McCall being the younger fighter. I think he can match Pickett in a lot of areas. Might even be a better wrestler, arguably. So yeah, I'll go with Uncle Creepy Ian McCall to win this one, but this is a very close fight in my opinion. Next fight after that, Naoyuki Kotani fights Norman Parke. Norman Parke, 19-2 record with 1 draw, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 12 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by submission. 27 years old, trains out of Alliance. He was the Ultimate Fighter Smashes winner. Solid all-around fighter. His stand-up's good. He's actually has really high volume, and his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is actually pretty solid as well. He's very much an Alliance guy. You know, a lot of moving. You know, he will utilize some good movement. More focus on volume than power. You see that a lot with Alliance guys. Even Gustafson's fight against like John Jones, you kind of saw that too. You know, some more movement, more volume over power. Dominic Cruz fights that way as well. And Miles Jury's kind of showing that as well. Who also train. You notice that with a lot of Alliance guys, movement, volume, but not a lot of power in the stand-up. And Norman Parke kind of fits that mold. Naoyuki Kotani, 33-10 record with 7 draws, 5 wins by KO or TKO, 25 wins by sub. He also has 5 losses by KO or TKO. He's 32 years old, on a 13-fight win streak. He's returning to the UFC. Last time he fought in the UFC was in September 2007. Very good on the ground, you know, just a very solid. His strength is mainly in his grappling. I'm gonna go with Norman Parke here, though. Norman Parke's actually a under the radar prospect. Solid fighter. He's not a blue chip prospect by any stretch, but you know, he is a solid fighter, still young and still improving. I think if Kotani can get it to the ground, Parke may be able to get back to his feet. And I think Parke, for the most part, would be able to outwork Kotani, especially on the feet. So I'm going to go with Norman Parke to win that one. Okay, on to the prelims. And all of this is in UFC Fight Pass. Okay, Ilir Latifi fights Chris Dempsey. Chris Dempsey has a 10-1 record, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub. He's 26 years old on an 8-fight win streak. It is his first fight in the UFC. I believe this fight's going to be contested at 205 pounds. I know Chris Dempsey has fought a good amount of time. In his last fight against Nick Krause, he fought at 185. So I don't think 205 is his natural weight class. And he didn't even look that big for a 185er. Dempsey, from what I saw, I made sure to watch his last fight against Nick Krause. He showed good wrestling and good top control. Saw enough ground and pound. And he seemed very comfortable in the front headlock position on top. Ilir Latifi, 8-3 record with 1 no contest, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by sub. He's 30 years old. light heavyweight is lacking in prospects right now. And Latifi, he's short, but dude, this guy is a bundle of energy. He is just a strong guy. He's a good wrestler with some pretty good ground and pound. Beat Cyril Diabate with a guillotine in his last fight. Still 30 years old and improving, doesn't have a lot of fights, so you could actually still consider him a prospect in the division. I think Latifi might just be... I think he's fought the higher level competition, and I think what Chris Dempsey does well, Latifi probably does a little better. And I'm going to argue that Latifi's going to be the stronger fighter here. Just a physically stronger fighter here. I'll go with Ilir Latifi to win that one. Next fight after that, Phil Harris fights Seery. Well, Phil Harris has a 22-11 record with 2 no contests. 4 wins by KO TKO, 13 wins by sub. He also has 5 losses by KO TKO and 5 losses by sub. He's 31 years old. It's hard to say what Phil Harris is good at. I mean, he's good. The funny thing with him is he's good on the ground, but other guys are better than him. I'd say that's his strength. His stand-up's alright, but once again, a lot of people are better than him in the stand-up. Seery, 13-10 record, 6 wins by KO or TKO, 5 wins by sub. He also has 5 losses by submission, and he's 34 years old. Really game opponent. Saw that in his fight against... I don't think anyone expected him to do as well as he did against Brad Pickett. Solid boxer. Not too bad on the ground. You know, the thing with Pickett is he actually had a pretty hard time passing Seery's guard. So, you know, he saw enough on the ground. He couldn't stop the takedowns of Pickett very well. But, you know, he acquitted himself pretty well. I got to go with Seery to win this one, you know. He's just a scrappy fighter. You know, he's just really game. Pretty decent enough stand-up as well, you know. Yeah, go with Seery to win that one. Next fight after that, Mike King fights Cathal Pendred. Well, Mike King has a 5-0 undefeated record with 1 win by TKO, 2 wins by sub. Has his 2 submission wins by strikes. He's 30 years old and he's never been past the second round. It'll be his first official fight in the UFC. I mean, he fought in the Ultimate Fighter. Cathal Pendred, 13-2 record with 1 draw, 6 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by decision. He's 26 years old on a 4-fight win streak, training out of SBG Ireland. It's also his first fight in the UFC. I gotta say, he didn't look that great in the Ultimate Fighter. He seemed a very one-dimensional grinder in the Ultimate Fighter. And I think that's kind of what his style's been like even in the regional scene, too. You know, he tries to get the takedown, tries to get top control, throw some ground and pound and whatnot. Average enough stand-up. I think that's enough for Cathal Pendred to get the win here. So I'll go with Cathal Pendred to win that one. Next fight after that, we have Trevor Smith versus Troeng. Troeng, 16-5 record with 1 draw, 6 wins by KO TKO, 6 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by submission. 31 years old. Trains out of All Stars Training Center, somewhere else too. But All Stars has like Gustafsson, Magnus Settenblad, Nicholas Backstrom, and some really good guys. He had a really fun fight against Rafael Natal. Showed some really good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills, especially from the half guard position, both on top and on the bottom. Striking's just a bit average, but I was really impressed with his ground game, especially against Rafael Natal. Trevor Smith, 11-5 record, 1 win by KO, 9 wins by sub. That's has 3 losses by KO or TKO, most recently losing to getting knocked out by Talis Laitis. 33 years old, he's only won 2 of his last 6 fights. Smith actually has some pretty decent Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. He's a good scrambler, actually. His striking's kind of average, and his stand-up defense isn't that good. He gets hit clean pretty frequently. I'll go with Troeng to win that one. I think he can probably match a stand-up. I'd argue that Troeng might be better on the ground. Smith's more of the type though to really go for high risk submissions. Saw that a lot in Strikeforce actually. Go for some pretty high risk submissions and whatnot. Like he'll go for the guillotine if he thinks he has it and whatnot. But I'll go for Troeng to win that one. Like I said, he might be better. I think he might have better technical Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. And I think he can match his stand-up. Okay, next fight after that, we have Cody Donovan versus Nikita Al Capone Krylov. Cody Donovan, 8-4 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub, and all 4 of his losses have been by KO or TKO. He's 33 years old on a 2-fight losing streak, training out of Grudge. There's not much I can say about Cody Donovan because I always see him losing. That's like John Vellante. He lost to OSP. I remember he got. I forgot who's the other guy. He got knocked out. He did pretty good against one guy, and then it's either he knocked him out or something like that. I forgot who it was. He has decent stand-up. I'd say Donovan's strength that I've seen. He's decent wrestler, I guess. There isn't any one thing I can say that he's like that great in. Nikita Krylov, 16-4 record, 6 wins by KO or TKO, 10 wins by sub. He has 1 loss by TKO and 3 losses by sub, so he's never been to decision. He's 22 years old. He's trading wins and losses right now. He is a potent finisher, actually, and he's only went past the first round once in his MMA career, and that was against Soa Palele at heavyweight, where he lost in the 3rd round by TKO. He's pretty weak off his back. I mean, a guy who loses... He lost against OSP by pretty much holding a guillotine from side mount and getting Von Flue choked. I mean, that's a pretty beginner way of losing a fight. It's a very rookie thing for Krylov to do. So, and that to me, and he didn't look great off his back and Soa Palele either. So he still comes off pretty green when he's fighting off his back. Stand-up's not too bad. He knocked out Walt Harris with a head kick and follow-up ground and pound. And he does have legitimately good kicks as well. Both these guys are relatively low-level guys, so it's really hard to say who will win. It's kind of a toss-up for me. I'm going to go with Nikita Krylov to win this one. It's kind of a toss-up to me, though. Like I said, that both these guys have like noticeable weaknesses, and they don't have any like particular strengths as well that makes me like favor. I'd say Donovan's probably the better wrestler than Krylov, so maybe you can go with that. Krylov might have the better stand-up, I suppose. Even then, I'm not super impressed with Krylov's stand-up. It's not that bad or anything like that, but nonetheless, I'll go with Nikita Krylov. It's kind of a coin flip to me. And finally, Patrick Holohan fights Josh Sampo. Josh Sampo, 11-3 record, 6 wins by submission, 5 wins by decision, 29 years old, good wrestler, good top control, solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. Patrick Holohan, 9-0 record with 1 draw, 1 win by KO, 7 wins by sub. He's 26 years old on a 4-fight win streak. Trains out of SBG Ireland. It'll be his first fight in the UFC. Officially in the UFC, he fought Josh Hill to try and get into the house in the Ultimate Fighter and lost. Holohan has some good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. He's particularly strong off his back. Has a good triangle choke. Stand-up's kind of average, and his takedown defense isn't that good. Sampo's a good wrestler. I can see him take the fight to the ground. His top control isn't that bad either, and his overall ground skills aren't that bad. I can't really see him getting like triangled or anything like that from Holohan. Holohan will go for it. I mean, this guy goes for like omoplatas from his back. He'll go for triangles and whatnot. But I think Sampo has the wrestling and top control to win this one. So to recap the main card, I have Conor McGregor over Diego Brandao, Gunnar Nelson over Zach Cummings, Ian McCall beating Brad Pickett, and Norman Parke over Naoyuki Kotani. On the prelims, I have Ilir Latifi beating Chris Dempsey, Neil Seery over Phil Harris, Cathal Pendred over Mike King, Troeng over Trevor Smith, Nikita Krylov beating Cody Donovan, and Josh Sampo over Patrick Callahan. So that's it for my prediction for UFC Fight Night 46. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.